Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the InfoWars Nightly News. Tonight is Tuesday, February 19th, 2013. I'm your host, Aaron Dykes. We have a lot of disturbing and important news coming up. Now, on the other side of the break, Jakari Jackson's going to speak with investigative reporter Wayne Matson on the suspicious death of Philip Marshall. He's been an author who wrote about 9/11 Truth. He had a lot of insider knowledge on the Mena, Arkansas drug tradings, the Iran-Contra scandal, and a whole lot more. So stay tuned for that. But first, the news. DHS supplier provides shooting targets of American gun owners. Paul Joseph Watson has this shocking story about how Law Enforcement Targets Incorporated is producing cardboard cutouts of, quote, non-traditional threats. Of course, this is on the heels of the federal government purchasing in excess of 2 billion bullets for non-law enforcement, non-lethal agencies. What the hell is going on? They're producing targets that say do not hesitate, of children, of pregnant women, of elderly men, in summary, of society's most vulnerable and typically most innocent citizens. You just cannot believe these cutouts, but they produce them, and you've really got to ask why, on the heels of Homeland Security and other agencies preparing to deal with the American people, openly stating they consider them to be potential extremists and the enemies in the event of an economic or civil unrest event, anything really they can use to justify a total, literal occupation of America through Homeland Security and related agencies. Now let's roll some of those incredible cardboard cutouts, again, that they say are going to be used by law enforcement who need to get over their hesitation factor for enemies they may encounter, quote, for the first time. And the obvious question is, why is there such a demand for these items, which, again, show nothing other than old ladies? There's a child with a gun, maybe 6 or 7 years old. There's a pregnant woman photographed in a nursery who's the target. Now, why is the officer there with the drawn gun in the nursery in the first place? Does he have a warrant? Has there been due process? Why does he consider this pregnant woman to be the enemy? Why are they planning to take down vulnerable and ordinary Americans? This is really bizarre, and it really should strike a nerve. Something unsettling is happening. This is on the heels of more and more gun confiscation, which we've heard again and again from sheriff, law enforcement, and from Americans in general that they won't put up with, they won't tolerate with, they won't cooperate with, because we have the Second Amendment, because shall not infringe. Democrats introduce a bill to allow police to search home of gun owners. This is happening in Washington State. You've got Senator Adam Klein of Seattle as one of the sponsors. He considers himself a strong civil liberties issue-minded representative, but claims he didn't read the bill that he, of course, sponsored, even though it was only 8 pages. The bill, in addition to its other banning of, assault weapons and clips and so forth, calls for, under SB 5737, the 1 per year visit by police or law enforcement to search homes without a warrant, of course, to see if people have indeed turned in their assault weapons that are, again, banned under this bill. It's caused such an outrage, such a stir, that liberal Democrats in the state and across the country say they're ashamed about the bill and say because of the bill they can see why their friends on the other side of the aisle, why their friends who are Second Amendment defenders are so freaked out by the attempted legislation that they're attempting to shove down the throats of Americans in every state in this country and at the federal level. But, of course, they claim this was introduced by accident, and they have egg on their face, and they didn't really mean it, and they're going to back off. Yeah, you can imagine it probably ended up there for a reason. Oh, by the way, could we have a bill to sponsor legislators to have elementary education so they can learn to read? Could they even be trained to read the Constitution and maybe abide by it and not introduce and sponsor legislation for unwarranted searches of American gun owners' homes just because they say they're civil liberty-minded people? It's disgusting.